witches, how you doing today? We're back with another video, and today I thought we would do, we'd have some fun with sort of a witchy gift guide, because sometimes it's hard, especially maybe from one witch to another it's not so hard, but if you're not witchy and you're like, what do I get that witchy person in my life? Sometimes it can be kind of hard, right? People's practices differ, but I've come up with what I think is a fairly comprehensive gift list of things that you can gift to someone who's witchy that aren't, well, some of them are overtly witchy, but some of them are, you know, they're just more, they're things that every witch could use. So I'm doing this because tomorrow is actually my birthday. And I was really excited to do a birthday witchcraft video. And I started doing the research about like birthday traditions and that kind of stuff, witchy traditions. And I was reading an article I found, and I got about halfway through it and I went, this is very familiar. And sure enough, I did a witchcraft birthday video last year. So I'll link that in the description below if you want to check it out. So I thought, what else can I do that's kind of birthday? And I mean, the holidays are coming up, right? Lots of people are gifting for Yule, for solstice, for Christmas, for New Year's. There's all sorts of different reasons in December to be gift giving. So I thought, let's do a video about all kinds of fun things that you can gift to people who are witchy in your life. So the first one, we're just jumping right in here. The first one is something that I received last year that I absolutely adore. It's the Taschen Witch book or Witchcraft book. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a coffee table book. So it's not so much a how to do witchcraft book, right? That's kind of hard to buy for somebody else. But this is like sort of, it's more of almost a history of witchcraft, witchcraft in art. It's a real beautiful coffee table book. It's nice and thick. And it is published by Taschen, T-A-S-C-H-E-N. It's just called The Library of Esoterica Witchcraft. Beautiful book if you can get your hands on it. And it's like a lovely kind of coffee table book. Great gift for a witch in your life. Another thing, and speaking of books, that I thought of was a beautiful journal, right? There's all kinds of, I mean, I love the ones you can buy that have little clasps on them, and sometimes they have like metallics on the cover, and you can get beautiful leather-bound journals, but just a blank journal is something every witchy person can use. If they're not going to use it right now, they will. We will always find a use for a good journal. The other thing I thought with a journaling set, I don't actually have this, but would love it, is like a calligraphy set. Like an old-fashioned dip your pen in the ink and write. That would be an amazing gift for somebody who's witchy. And then they can always switch out the inks, use magical inks, that kind of a thing. But just to have the original calligraphy set where they can, you know, use an ink pen would be a very cool gift. Along that lines would be a wax sealing kit. You know, you melt the wax, you get the little pots and you melt the wax, and then you pour it and then you stamp it with the stamper. One of those kits would be excellent for the witchy person in your life. Sometimes you can find them with like actual witchy motifs to them. You can also find ones that have different, like, you know, more mundane type themes to them. You can get a simple set that just has one seal with their, like maybe their initial in it. But yeah, those wax sealing kits would make a really cool gift. And keeping on the sort of theme of all things paper is fancy paper. They can add it to their book of shadows, or they could use it for like writing petitions. I'm thinking like parchment paper, homemade paper, that kind of thing. And along the same lines, if maybe you're like, I don't know what kind of paper to buy them, you could get them a paper making kit. I have one. It's kind of like, it's not huge. It's just like two kind of grids about this big with a screen that goes between them, but it's kind of big to bring on camera. But like a paper making kit, because again, I love making paper for my practice. And it's something that like all witches use paper at some point in their practice, right? Whether it's to write in a book of shadows or, you know, journal or write petitions or pledges or just to write their spell work and incantations out, right? Again, so that idea that they could make their own paper. What else do we have on here? Candles. But not just like plain, right? Nobody wants like a box of tea lights. But I have like gorgeous, I found a box of these like silver candles. It's kind of hard to see. Let me unwrap this. It's a silver taper candles, right? So again, like super right? They're almost a little bit textured. I don't know if you can see it, not really, but they're a little bit textured and they're silver. They burn beautifully. And again, right, they're not overtly witchy, but every witch could use some silver candles. And how about like a fancy candle holder to put it on? Like bonus points for something that's vintage or retro. Like this is a hand-carved antique one. Right? You can buy some ones that are very like kind of generic, like metal ones you can get on Amazon. But if you shop around, you might, go to the antique store, see what you can find for an old-fashioned like candle vintage holder. Oh, any witch would love that. All right. How about, speaking of crafty things, what about a flower pressing kit? I have one, I forgot to grab it. Right, you can actually buy, if you have a Lee Valley near you, they have a microwave flower pressing kit that works like super fast. I don't have that one, but I have a version of that. Works really, really well. Doing it in the microwave, and then you get like instantly dried pressed flowers, or just like an old school flower pressing kit. I mean, that would be, I think most witches would appreciate something like that. How about a fancy resin skull? This might not appeal to everyone's aesthetic. So again, you know the person in your life best, but something like a fancy resin skull, I mean, I'll be honest, I can't have too many of them. Even if I had a duplicate one, I would love it. I have lots of uses for resin skulls. You can also get resin animal skulls. So maybe there's a particular animal that that they're sort of, that they work with, that they're tied to as a spirit ally, right? You could get them a resin skull. Triangular shelves. So I have this lovely little one here. They can sit on a tabletop, or you can hang them on your walls. They're great for organizing crystals, essential oils, all kinds of things. Just keeping all your witchy knickknacks together. I love this guy, and it's like, I love that you can kind of do anything with it. It can sit on a table. It can sit on, this one is actually on my bedside table. It could be up on, you could put it up on like a rail, like a railing. You can hang it from a wall. It could go in a bathroom. It could go in a bedroom. It can go in a living room. It can go in a witchy room. Super versatile. And you can also find shelves like that are like shaped like crescent moons, all kinds of different things, right? But just that idea of like a witchy shelf like that. Where are we here? A large gemstone. So like to give somebody just a bag of tumbled stones is kind of impersonal. But if you were to do a little research and figure out what different gemstones mean, and there was one that you felt was particularly in tune with the person that you're gifting to. So like, I'm thinking like an amethyst cluster, or a crystal ball, or even like I have here like a crystal egg. I can't remember. This is from Madagascar. I can't remember what it's actually called. You crystal people will know. Right? I have a whole collection of gemstone eggs. So again, like kind of a statement piece, a crystal statement piece, a gemstone statement piece. Fairy lights. Those little teeny tiny lights, and they usually have like a battery pack hanging off one end. Every witch in your life could use fairy lights. How about a beautiful bell? Mine's isn't particularly fancy, but that idea of like a big, nice, big ass bell. Any witch could use one of those, and you can find some gorgeous decorative ones. And along the same line, how about a magnifying glass? You can find some like absolutely gorgeous magnifying glasses out there with like bone handles, that kind of an idea. Little funny story. I asked for one a few years back. So my husband went to the Staples, the stationery store, and bought me like a magnifying glass. I was like, oh, honey. So I got a magnifying glass, but it's just like a black magnifying glass. I was like, no, I wanted like a witchy one. I wanted one that was kind of aesthetic, right? Anyways, how about a glass decanter? A gorgeous glass decanter. You can never have too many of these. This one is very plain and simple. You can find ones that are all different kinds of cut glass, right? They're all over, and you can very often find them at the thrift stores because they're sort of not in style anymore for keeping your liquor in, and a lot of people get rid of them. So if you can't find one, I mean, I've seen them at like Winners, Home Sense, those kind of stores, those kind of discount stores, but you can also find them at thrift stores. A mortar and pestle. Like, give them a good chunky mortar and pestle. Every witch could use that. An hourglass. right? A beautiful hourglass. They can use it for timing their spells, timing their meditations, whatever, right? That'd just be a beautiful piece. And my final thing is look at, are they kind of crafty? Maybe they'd like a wood burner. For a lot of us, that's something that we're like, oh, I would totally do that, but I might not buy it for myself. Or I know I put on my Christmas list was some special carving knives, and they're curved and they're meant for making spoons and bowls. And again, I love carving. I don't do it very often, but like I would love to make myself some of my own tools for witchcraft. So if they're kind of crafty, you could look at woodworking kind of stuff like wood burners or, carving knives, that kind of a thing. So those are kind of some of my suggestions for gifting to witchy people in your life. And when all else fails, a gift card to a local witch shop is always appreciated. A local metaphysical shop, right? A local craft shop, that kind of stuff. Always, always appreciated. So I hope that gives you some ideas, because I know sometimes it's a little hard, right? You're like, well, I'd buy them a tarot deck, but I don't really know what they're interested in. I'd buy them incense, but I don't know what kind of scents they like. Do you know what I mean? A lot of that stuff is very personalized, whereas hopefully I've given you some ideas of items that are a little more every witch could use. So yeah, if you have any ideas, drop us a comment. I'd love to know what you think would make a good witchy gift that isn't too personal, right? Something that's just nice and standard and every witch can use. Yeah, so that is our video for today. And like I said, leave us a comment and you can check out the other video on birthday witchcraft. I'll drop that link in the description. And otherwise, yeah, that's our video for today. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much, you guys.